I should have known something was wrong when the first human walked into my medical facility at 4 in the morning. Let me back up. My name is Krell, and I run what you might call a walk-in clinic on Station Perihelion. It's a decent setup, honestly. 3 examination pods, a surgical suite that cost me half my retirement savings, and a waiting area with chairs designed for 7 different species. I've been practicing xenomedicine for 23 cycles, and I've seen everything from Vordelian scale rot to Thesian nervous system collapse. But humans? They were supposed to be the fragile ones. The newcomers. The species that needed coddling. That's what everyone said, anyway. The first one through my door was named Marcus Hoffmeyer, and he looked like he'd been hit by a cargo transport. Blood dripped from a gash above his left eye, his jacket was torn in 4 places, and he walked with a limp that would have sent any reasonable being straight to emergency surgery. "Good morning," he said, entirely too cheerful for someone who appeared to be partially disassembled. "Got into a bit of a scrape at the loading docks." "Nothing serious." I stared at him. "Nothing serious? Your cranial wound is approximately 6 centimeters long, and I can see bone." He touched the wound, looked at his blood-covered fingers, and shrugged. "Yeah, but I'm still walking, right? Just need some glue or whatever you use here." I guided him to examination pod 3, trying not to show my alarm. The injury should have been causing severe pain, possibly unconsciousness. Human pain tolerance was supposed to be average at best, according to the medical databases. Someone had clearly filed incorrect information. While I worked on Marcus, sealing his wound with bioadhesive and treating his various contusions, my assistant Venna came rushing in. She's Caltharian, which means she has excellent peripheral vision and zero patience for surprises. "Dr. Krell," she hissed, "there are 9 more humans in the waiting area, and they all look like they fought a recycling compactor." 9? I nearly dropped my instrument. What happened? Was there an industrial accident? "No," she said slowly, "they're saying it was amateur wrestling night at the recreation center." Amateur wrestling night. For fun. I finished with Marcus, who thanked me profusely and insisted on paying double because, quote, "You did such a neat job, document. My wife won't even notice." Then I moved to the waiting area, where I encountered a scene that would haunt my professional sensibilities for years to come. A woman named Rita Vasquez sat calmly reading a magazine despite having a dislocated shoulder. When I expressed concern, she said, "Oh, this?" I was going to pop it back in myself, but my buddy said I should let a professional do it. "You know, make it official. Make it official." As if joint relocation was something one did casually, like filing paperwork. Next was a man called Tom Bergen, who had fractured 2 fingers and somehow considered this completely normal. "Happens all the time when you're working construction," he explained. "Usually just tape them up and keep going." "You keep working with broken bones?" I couldn't hide my horror. "Well, yeah. Job's gotta get done." By mid-morning, I had treated 17 humans for injuries ranging from minor lacerations to a cracked rib. Every single one of them acted like their damage was barely worth mentioning. Several apologized for taking up my time. One actually asked if I had any real patients to attend to. Venna pulled me aside during a brief lull. "Doctor, this isn't normal. The physiological readings I'm getting don't match the database profiles at all. Their pain response is suppressed, their healing factors are elevated, and their damage tolerance is, well, it's frankly terrifying." I noticed, I muttered, watching another human walk in with what appeared to be a chemical burn. The question is, why didn't anyone warn us? Maybe nobody survived long enough to file a proper report? Venna's attempt at humor fell flat. The afternoon brought even stranger cases. A man named Jackson Wu came in complaining of a bit of a stomachache that turned out to be early-stage appendicitis. He seemed genuinely surprised when I told him he needed immediate surgery. "Can't it wait until tomorrow?" he asked. I've got a shift at the fusion core in 3 hours. Your appendix could rupture, I said, slowly and clearly. You could die. Oh. He considered this. Yeah, okay. Probably should take care of that then. Probably should take care of lethal organ failure. Probably. The surgery went fine, but while I was closing him up, Venna came in with news that made my pulse spike. Doctor, we have a problem. A big one. Bigger than humans treating mortal injuries like minor inconveniences? Yes. She pulled up a holographic display. Remember how they said humans needed humbling? How they were weak? Vulnerable? Of course. Well, the hegemony scheduled a series of combat trials today. Mandatory participation for all new species. They were supposed to demonstrate human fragility, show them their place in the galactic hierarchy. My stomach dropped. And? The humans won every single match. All 47 of them. 3 Crossan warriors are in critical care. The Hegemony Tribunal is convening an emergency session. She paused. They're calling it the humbling that backfired. I finished suturing Jackson Wu and stepped back, my hands trembling slightly. Fragile. They called humans fragile. The beings currently filling my clinic with their minor injuries, and their just a scratch attitudes had just fought their way through a gauntlet designed to break them, and they'd won. And now they were lining up at my door because they needed a quick patch-up before their next shift started. I looked at Venna. Cancel my evening appointments. Something tells me we're going to be very, very busy. The flood started around noon. Not humans this time. No, the waiting room began filling with every species that had underestimated the Earthborn. Crossans with fractured exoskeletons. Thessians nursing bruised egos along with their actual bruises. Even a Vordelian commander limped in, refusing to make eye contact with anyone. They fight dirty, the commander muttered as I treated his compound fracture. No honor. No proper form. Just, adapt and survive. Sounds effective, I said, keeping my tone neutral. Effective? He laughed bitterly. I've trained for 30 years in 7 different combat disciplines. That human, the one called Maria Lopez, she learned my fighting style in 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Then she used it against me. I thought about Maria. She had come in earlier that morning with what she called sore knuckles from punching through a reinforced sparring shield. I had treated the microfractures in her hand while she chatted pleasantly about her daughter's school recital. The same hand that had apparently dismantled a decorated Vordelian warrior. By mid-afternoon, my clinic resembled a war zone triage center. Venna had called in 2 additional staff members, and we were still overwhelmed. The galactic species who had demanded the combat trials were now discovering what defeat tasted like, and apparently, it tasted like medical bills. Then Jackson Wu walked back in. The same Jackson Wu I had performed emergency surgery on 6 hours earlier. He was wearing a clean shirt and carrying a container of something that smelled oddly pleasant. Hey, Doc. Brought you some cookies. My mom's recipe. Figured you'd be hungry after all this craziness. I stared at him. You should be in recovery. Resting. Not walking around delivering baked goods. Oh, I feel fine. He set the container on my desk. The anesthesia wore off pretty quick, and I've got a high pain tolerance, so I figured I'd head back to work. But my supervisor said I should take the day off, so I went home and helped Mom with her baking. She says thank you for saving my life, by the way. You helped with baking. After abdominal surgery. Today. Well, yeah. Can't just sit around doing nothing, right? I opened my mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. No words came out. Venna approached, looking equally stunned. Mr. Wu, your incision site should require at least 72 hours of minimal movement for proper healing. Oh, don't worry. I was super careful. Didn't lift anything heavier than a mixing bowl. He grinned like this was perfectly reasonable. After he left, I sat down heavily in my chair. Venna handed me one of the cookies. It was delicious, which somehow made everything worse. They're insane, she said quietly. Medically, physiologically, psychologically insane. And they don't even realize it. She was right. That was the truly horrifying part. The humans genuinely believed they were normal. Average. Unremarkable. The evening brought Rita Vasquez back to my clinic. I had relocated her shoulder that morning, given her strict instructions to rest and immobilize the joint, and prescribed pain medication. She walked in carrying a heavy equipment case in each hand. "Rita," I said, my voice strained, "what are you doing?" "Oh, hey, Doc. Listen, the shoulder feels great. You really know your stuff. But I think I might have overdone it at the gym just now, and my back's a little tight. You got anything for muscle tension? You went to the gym. After a shoulder relocation. Just light cardio and some leg work," she protested. "I didn't use the shoulder much. Well, except for the pull-ups, but those were only 20 reps, so it doesn't really count." I treated her muscle strain in silence, my worldview crumbling with each passing moment. By evening, word had spread throughout Station Perihelion. The species that had demanded humanity prove itself, that had insisted Earthborn needed humbling, were now hiding in their quarters, nursing their wounds and their shattered assumptions. The Hegemony Tribunal had issued an official statement, carefully worded to avoid admitting they had catastrophically miscalculated. Something about unexpected variables and statistical anomalies. Marcus Hoffmeyer, my first patient of the day, returned with dinner for my entire staff. "Figured you folks would be swamped," he said cheerfully, his head wound already showing remarkable healing progress. "It's just synthetic protein and vegetables, but it's hot and filling." We ate together in the break room, my staff and I, while humans continued to populate the waiting area. Not for treatment this time. They were keeping the other species company, offering encouragement, sharing stories, making jokes. Tom Bergen, the construction worker with broken fingers, was teaching a young Caltharian how to play a human card game using his good hand. Maria Lopez sat with the Vordelian commander, both laughing about the day's matches like old friends rather than recent opponents. "Dr. Krell," Venna said softly, "I've been reviewing the medical data from today. The humans, their injury recovery rate is approximately 3 times faster than predicted. Their pain tolerance is off the charts. And their psychological resilience, it's unlike anything in our databases." "I know. They were classified as a Class 4 species. Minimal threat. Recommended for agricultural and service roles." "I know. That classification is dangerously incorrect." I looked through the window at the humans in my waiting area, laughing and helping and treating their severe injuries like minor inconveniences. They had been underestimated by an entire galactic civilization, and instead of being angry about it, they were bringing us cookies and teaching card games. "They don't want to conquer us," I said slowly. "That's what makes them terrifying. They could, easily, but they genuinely just want to help and fit in and be friends. They're dangerous because they don't realize how dangerous they are." Venna nodded. "What do we do?" "We update the medical databases," I said. "Every file, every protocol, every assumption. And we hope that the rest of the galaxy figures it out before they try to humble humanity again. Because next time, I suspected, the humans might not be so forgiving." Jackson Wu poked his head into the break room. "Hey, Doc. My mom wanted to know if you'd like the recipe for those cookies. She says medical professionals should be properly fed." I smiled despite everything. "Yes, Mr. Wu. I would like that very much." As he walked away, humming some Earthborn tune, I made a note in my personal log. Date, Station Cycle 447. Subject, Human Physiology. Conclusion, everything we thought we knew was wrong. They said Earthborn needed humbling. Turns out, we were the ones who needed the lesson. And what a lesson it was. Friends, if you are enjoying our videos and want to watch new and exciting sci-fi and HFY stories every day, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure to turn on the bell icon so you never miss any of our latest uploads. Like the video and share it with your friends as well, so our community can continue to grow and bring you even more amazing content.